And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
When watching anime, do you ever get that feeling of needing a change? Like it's just the same old, same old? That's kind of what I've been going through lately. I was kind of tired of seeing all these new and different colorful animes that these studios were producing, and I wanted to see more of that old stuff. That is when I came across an anime called Golden Boy. I quite like this anime for several reasons, and in today's video, with some help from a friend of mine, I'll be going into it. But before we start, I'd like to introduce the guy who will also be chiming in on this show. So, Jack, how are things?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the video.
Fantastic. With that out of the way, let's talk a bit about Golden Boy. To talk about Golden Boy, we're gonna have to take a step back through time. Nope, that's too far. And stop. Right here is good. The early 90s. In 1992, the manga Golden Boy was serialized in 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥, with the first collected volume released the following year. Parts of the manga were adapted into a 6-episode original video animation, or as today it's known by OVA, and a series produced by 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧 and KSS in 1995, which was subsequently released through ADV Films in North America in December 1996. The first episode of Golden Boy was released prior to that year on October 27th. Written by 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥 and directed by Hiroyuki Kintaro, Golden Boy tells the story of a 25-year-old freetar, pervert, and traveling student named Kintaro, who goes from job to job helping out wherever he can, while also being an outright pervert, all the while exceeding the people's expectations of being a good-for-nothing nobody. So let's move on to our main boy, Kintaro. So, as already mentioned, Kintaro is our main character in the show. He's a 25-year-old dropout who takes odd jobs wherever he can, and all the while being, well, himself. But that's not all. In whatever activity he's doing, he clearly isn't your run-of-the-mill character who quite simply just gets on with whatever he's doing. He sort of looks at things that are as simple as cleaning a toilet at a different angle, and he tends to let his mind wander a bit. Not to mention him always making a terrible first impression. But when he needs to get serious, you can see the passion within him and get a sense of the kind of person he is, which I quite like a lot and stands out to me more than him being your average anime pervert protagonist. But that's just how I feel about him. What about you, Jack? What did you think about Kintaro?
Kintaro is an interesting character, to say the least. I'll get into what makes him kind of weird later on, but I think he is the perfect character for the Golden Boy protagonist. He's the world's biggest simp, which plays perfectly into Golden Boy's ecchi themes, but as well as this, he's kind of portrayed as a very intelligent person. This story could have very easily made Kintaro the dumb, ecchi protagonist, which it does in a sense because he's always making these mistakes, but at the end he's always cleaning it up, and because of his character we always get to see how he fixes these problems or helps people out in other ways along his travels. And that's another really important part of his character really. He's a guy who's just travelling about and living his life, and I think that is really noble in a way. He's just doing what he wants to do and experiencing the world, and I think you know, in this day and age, or even in that day and age, you can feel really held down by obligations or responsibilities, and Kintaro just kind of got rid of that and just said, fuck it, I'm gonna travel. And as a student of human character, he gets to experience all of this stuff firsthand and meet lots of different new people and create memories that he's probably never gonna forget. So I think this part of his character is very wholesome. This is kind of in contrast to his weird fetish side. I won't clown on him for that, but personally not my kind of thing.
As for the anime itself as a whole, I love how it has a very distinct charm to it. Plus, it's one of the oldest anime comedies out there, so in a way, it sort of sets the standards of a funny, dramatic, ecchi anime. I really dig all the overdramatic yet hilarious facial expressions that each character has for themselves. That and how each episode ends. After a climactic ending, Kintaro sets off on his bike to pursue his next big adventure, leaving behind not only a better impression, but the friends he's made along the away. There's something about that makes me kind of sad, but also happy at the same time. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Jack?
The best way to describe the anime as a whole would be as unique. Golden Boy is something that manages to mix together ecchi, comedy, episodic stories, and also kind of life lessons all in one, which is a very weird bundle of things to put together, but somehow it just works so well. I do think that some of the episodes can come across as nonsensical or slightly artificial at times, but I think that's more to do with the time it was written in rather than an explicit problem with the series. But regardless of that, I think it still manages to succeed in a lot of other ways. You know, considering when it came out, it's really stood the test of time, which is quite impressive when you take a look back and see what the show really is. I think Golden Boy also is just great as a comedy anime. It's probably one of the only animes I've watched that has really made me laugh out loud. And as an avid sub watcher, I have to say I've watched the English dub for Golden Boy, and the dub is just hilarious. Watching it in sort of my native language really adds to the humor for me, and so without a doubt I think this is a really strong anime.
So there were two questions that went through both our minds while we were planning out this video. Two questions that we felt like we needed to go over to truly understand this anime, and they are: what makes this anime such a classic, and what makes it simply outrageous for an anime around its time? So we figured the best way to cover both points was for one of us to answer one question and the other to answer the next. So here we go. Simply put, Golden Boy was made during an era where anime started to make a name for itself. Alongside others such as 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥, it stood out way more in my opinion. This casual looking guy running into gorgeous women, all the while struggling to keep a job, sounds great on paper. The execution was done really well in the show. What really does it for me is not just the comedy, but the overall style the anime has. Pretty sure I lost count the number of times I had to pause the episode and just try and take in the nostalgic hand-drawn shots of the environments or even the details in the objects. It's got this classic style to it which reminds me a lot of that old Sonic CD movie you can find here on YouTube. Fun fact, that video was what made me fall in love with the 90s anime style, and that's why I think Golden Boy is a classic.
I think where Golden Boy really is quite ridiculous, even for an ecchi like this, is still the sexualization of the characters. First off, Kintaro has a toilet fetish. I'm not going to kink shame him for it, but it's just every episode has a toilet in it, and every episode he's, you know, sniffing toilet seats or something like that, which just isn't something you normally see for a protagonist. You know, a lot of the time these days they try and make the anime main character relatable to you so you can sort of understand their journey. Sniffing toilet seats not really my thing, not gonna lie. So I think Kintaro's kind of kinky side is just a bit weird and definitely outrageous. Golden Boy seems to also hypersexualize every single female, and there's women coming out here with titties that I think probably inspired jiggle physics in a lot of games. Like, the character designs of the women are really over the top at times, and I can definitely see why that's not everyone's cup of tea, and it's definitely something that makes it stand out at least. The crude humor and the really over the top moments just pump it into 12th gear.
So, final thoughts. You can't go wrong with Golden Boy. It's fun, lighthearted, and a little inappropriate at times, but I think that's kind of the point.
Golden Boy for me is something that's a bit like Marmite. For the British viewers, you know I mean, it's something you either love or you hate, but there's no denying the kind of legacy that Golden Boy has left behind and the influence that it's had on a lot of other comedy series.
So, if you're perhaps interested, we recommend you check out Golden Boy. Thank you so much for joining us in today's video, and a very special thank you to Jack, or as he's known on YouTube, Feign. It's been a pleasure working with you, bro. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much. I hope the viewers enjoyed.
Guys, be sure to check out Jack's channel. He talks about all things manga related, such as Chainsaw Man to Kingdom and 𝗧𝗪𝗜𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥. I really need to work on my Japanese pronunciations. Link to his videos will be in the description. Once again, thanks so much for watching, guys. It really means a lot. Be sure to follow me on my Twitter. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe. Go check out Feign's channel as well. I guarantee you'll find something over there that you will like. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. See you later.